What age were you exposed to porn? I wanna say with distinct memory of what I saw I was around 7, it was way too young for sure. My aunt had dial-up before us and I was allowed to play on the computer unsupervised when I visited. Googled some classic kid brain keywords and ended up seeing some pretty hardcore intercourse photos on a website. Got in trouble and hideously shamed for it. Brain dead, passive buck, boomer parenting at its finest. But I think it may have been even younger. There's a 14-year age gap between me and my oldest brother. He definitely had mags. I was maybe 11, I didn't know incognito was a thing and I drew a gay Santa cartoon at a cartoon drawing workshop. My mom found out because the cartoon dude gave her my work and she had a talk with me, and after that, no one ever came across my porn again. The cartoon was pretty neat actually. Santa had a V8 powered sled and Rudolph was his sidekick riding with him in the sled. I don't remember what it was about, but the last page was Santa and his boyfriend around their house and the last picture was Santa saying finally we can fuck. I was like 10 and was using my dad's computer and just typing random stuff, and apparently I typed 30 at some point, and once I saw boobs I clicked on everything relating to it. Got a virus on his computer. He was mad into yelling at me and saying I wasn't allowed to basically play with anything for a week until he asked me if I thought it was worth it. And I just said I saw boobs, so yay, which made him laugh, and we forgot it ever happened. I wasn't allowed on his computer anymore, but all charges against me were dropped. I was at a church camp one year, and one of my counselors brought a porn magazine. Hustler, I think. He was using it as a form of bribery to keep some of us in line. I remember seeing only a few pages of it, and feeling like I was definitely not supposed to see that. I kinda kept my distance afterwards. It was a church camp, after all. I must have been no older than 10. It wasn't until the early 2000s, and I mean early, that I began to explore the internet side of it on my own. Would have been in my early 20s. I think I was like 5-6. My parents were out for the day, and I was fooling around in their room. Saw a tape that said Beauty and the Beast. It wasn't the Disney version. First time I saw a woman shirtless, an erect penis and full-on penetration. My big sister was with me and we were in shock together. I used to sneak into my parents' stash till the internet came out and watch it when home alone, yet felt pretty weird to understand that I'm jerking off to the same shit as my dad, and probably my siblings. Maybe 7? I found my older cousin's stash of porn mags. If anyone remembers Wee Magazine. He sure was mad when I took him. Then I got a subscription to Playboy magazine. It used to come once a month. And my favorite hiding place for it was between the mattress box spring. Of course, when videotapes came out I had my father get a subscription to a movie club. 1984 when I sent him to the store with a list of porn titles. I'm sure the guy at the counter seeing a 77-year-old man renting porn tapes, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. 11 used watch work videos on YouTube with my friend. We didn't masturbate at the time but was just curious. He went to Google and typed it in the search and said his cousin watches this. First video I saw was a woman bent over standing up and 2 guys on each, and I didn't know how sex worked and wondered why was his UOV in her mouth and why was the other guy sticking it in her ass. It wasn't her ass, but was everywhere. Since we went from level 1 to 100 so quickly we found it gross and clicked off. Aged around 10 I saw a discarded Sun newspaper when some builders were working on our house. It was just a topless woman as was traditional on page 3 in the UK. My brother was into photography in a big way, and so his photography magazines would sometimes feature glamour photography. Translation: classy pics of boobs. The same brother later traded a copy of Razzle magazine with me for borrowing my Sega Mega Drive for an afternoon to take over to his friend's place. Best deal I ever made. In grade school I was 8. The girl I was friends with, her dad had a collection in his basement studio. As girls, when you see stuff the women are doing you see it differently than most. I remember trying to understand what was going on in the picture. We went back to that a few times to look at JT and found he had lots on his computer too. Once we found the videos then I realized what it was for and got excited about it. My friend never really did, probably changed her outlook on her dad. I was 10. My school had computers at each kid's desk and the kid next to me was googling Naruto jacking off and it was pulling up hentai. He just didn't know the word hentai at the time. He even printed out a full color picture at school and kept it folded up in his pocket and nobody even noticed. My school was super ghetto, so there was obviously a lack of care from the teachers in the IT department. I'm shocked the school could even afford the computers for each student. 8. Asked my uncle for his phone to play games, found video folder. Most of them were normal songs, but then there it was. The title was pedophilic. I watched like half of it not knowing what it was. What's worse is me and my little brother watched it together. Dad came and we told him about it. He snatched the phone and forbid us to look at it. We didn't understand why but agreed. I watched it again when I was alone cause I thought it was interesting. I was 5. I went to put on a video, I think Goosebumps, and there was a video already in the player and it was a guy, a girl on a hammock. I was looking at it for like 5 minutes trying to figure out what was happening when my mom walked in. I remember she told me I wasn't in trouble. I also remember when Dad got home they went in their bedroom, didn't come out for ages, then Dad wanted to talk to me man to man. Now as a adult I know what the hell that was all about. Funny story. I was about 12 and was really into antique things like coins, maps, books, etc. After school one day I went on eBay and typed in antique or collector or something. I scrolled through 3 pages of normal stuff, then bam, pages and pages of pre-1950s nudes. Not pinups either, but like explicit pictures. I realize it was still the early days of the internet, but I'm still surprised eBay didn't have some kind of filter for that stuff. Funny. I can remember 7-year-old me and siblings playing with our parents' rubbers. We thought they were those clown balloons but packaged in Vaseline wrappers. Around 11, never forget when my bro woke me up to sneak all in the basement to play the VHSs my dad had hidden in a secret compartment he had made in the garage. Porn glory, big tit lovers. We both knew from the day that he cheated on our mom with chicks with huge tits. I was 8. It was a Penthouse magazine I found under my father's side of the bed. I wasn't sure what was going on in some of the pictorials. The one that stands out was of 2 women performing cunnilingus on each other while in a wading pool. I went and asked my mom, why are these 2 ladies licking each other's butts? This of course is the explanation for my lifelong love of oral sex. Thanks to unknown wading pool ladies. I was 5, maybe 6, years old and I went to the bathroom in the fishing store that my father frequented. In the corner of the stall was a stack of Playboy magazines. After about 25 minutes of furtive reading, my father opened the bathroom door and asked me if I was okay or did I have an upset stomach. I froze, said I was fine, and he closed the door. I could hear him and the proprietor laughing as he went back to the counter. Unless you want to say that searching up naked women on the internet is exposed to porn, then was 9-10-year-old, back in 2008-09. Unless you want to say that searching up naked women on the internet is exposed to porn, then I was 9-10 years old. Back in of bodies, and I thought maybe he was referring to strippers. But he obviously meant something else. He said to me about Pornhub, and that evening, my world changed. 3 years old, the Land Before Time was supposed to be in the VCR, it wasn't. It was a homemade video of my father's side of the family, completely innocent at first, people playing football at what looked like a cookout, but after the first few minutes it had been recorded over. It's one of the earliest memories I have, and I can tell how much of a negative impact it had on my development and relationships of my younger years. 11, maybe 12. Possibly 10. It's hard to remember. But that shit fucked up my entire perception of what a healthy relationship and conversation is supposed to be when talking to a lady. I feel like I've only started getting better these past few years. Definitely didn't said a lot of things I regret before ever realizing that they were wrong and frankly disgusting. But hey. The journey of life. Hey, when I was 8 year 2000, was in computer class and Limp Bizkit was quite popular then, mistyped and up sprang a porn site, didn't know what to do so I turned the computer off, turned the PC screen off. And switched computers. The PCs were logged in with student credentials lol, so I was famous in school for the next 2 years and older kids kept bringing porn mags to school to show me, embarrassed smiley face. Around 9. Kids at my school had recorded some and sneak it to school. I was confused. I was the only girl in that group, and vaginas I'd seen before that did not look like that. I said that and the boys did not believe me. They started to Google images to prove to me and I called them stupid and left. One of the first time I got mansplained about female bodies, embarrassed smiley face. 11. It was my job to put away the laundry. Found my dad's penthouse under some sweaters. He always acted so perfect, and being autistic I went out and told him how disappointed I was in him for holding me to high standards when he was hiding and married. The problem was he was having a meeting with somebody from work and he worked as a bank president. He was mortified. It's actually one of my farthest back memories I can recall. I must have been 3 or 4, sitting on the living room floor facing some blocks or some such set of toys. I turn my head around and see bio father stroking it to hardcore porn on the family computer, volume up and everything. He did this often with my siblings and I in the room. We thought it was normal. When I was around 10-12 I was lazing around on the home computer and decided to type in because why not, right? Immediate boobs and dick. I was fascinated, transfixed, by the huge dicks. That's when I kinda figured out that I was gay, haha. Oh, and don't get me started on how my parents reacted when they looked through the browser history. I was probably like 10 and was trying to watch anime. I found a website that had categories and thought witch's magic sounded cool, like Harry Potter. To be fair, Bible Black does have both of those things. In my mind it didn't count as porn because it was a cartoon, so I just sat and watched it like any other show. I remember liking the music, lol. I was like 9 I believe. I was at flea market with parents and some dude had a stall with a bunch of VHS tapes and he was just chilling there watching porn on a small TV like nothing. No one told him nothing and my mom quickly covered my eyes as we passed. But, I saw the two naked girls on top of one another and didn't know what was going on at the time. I was 13, looking at the on-demand section when we moved into a new home. Saw the tag that said adult, figured that's what mom and dad watched, and we'd all been watching The Apprentice as a family at the time. It was not, in fact, what mom and dad watched. Evidenced by them getting the bill and the person with the company commenting on that lol. 8-9 yo I found a porn DVD and watched it. Felt weird for the first time, was getting sick in stomach with a rock hard boner. Quite an unique feeling lol. It was a double penetration outdoor sex video too. Had seen bare breasts in magazines a lot earlier though. Since like 12 yo I have been going strong on porn as I discovered masturbation.